So to kick this playlist/series off of short stories involving injuries, especially ones relating to having dysautonomia and other chronic illnesses, this first one is actually not going to be related to necessarily having POTS, but to brittle bones, because I was diagnosed with like osteoporosis/osteopenia at an early age. I've had various doctors tell me osteoporosis and other ones tell me osteopenia, so I'm not really sure which one it is, so I just let them argue amongst themselves. But I do have low bone density. So I'm going to talk about that briefly. I've had that since, again, I was like 13 is when I was diagnosed, because this first injury, I literally was outside in shoes, and I was playing with my best friend down in Florida, and I stepped on a rock and I broke my foot. And I walked on it for several more days after that, because when you're younger, I guess pain just doesn't feel as bad. And at that point, even then, like, I had pain like frequently, and I had injuries frequently, so I was like, whatever, it's probably nothing that serious. Well, we go see an orthopedic doctor, and I not only broke my foot, but the bone was actually floating away. Like, this little piece of bone was floating away from the rest of the outside of like my foot. It was just completely by itself, so they casted it to try to get it to come back together, and it did. It just took like 3 months. And then another one, since this is going to be really short, I'm going to talk about another one where I also broke my foot. I fractured it at Cedar Point on the Blue Streak, because despite my condition, I really like roller coasters, and yes, I do pass out on them on occasion. I come to very quickly. It's like I shut off for like a few seconds, I wake up, I shut off for it happens. It's up and down, literally like the roller coaster. But I haven't had injuries to my neck or anything from that. The only injury I've received from Cedar Point has been breaking my foot on the Blue Streak, because I was wearing sandals, and at the time they had bolts on the inside of the ride that were not capped, and I was wearing sandals, which you probably shouldn't do. You should wear tennis shoes when going on a coaster or anything at a theme park, and it slapped my foot. Whenever we're going through the ride, it slapped to the side of the coaster, the outside of my foot did, and it hit that bolt, and it fractured my foot. It wasn't a very bad fracture, and it healed relatively quickly, but it did happen, and it sucked, but it didn't stop me from going back, because I love Cedar Point. I usually have a season pass, with the exception of the last few years, which have been difficult to go because of surgery, so I haven't been able to, but I'm hoping to get back out there. Because it's one of those things during the summer and the fall that I really enjoy, even if it's only like 2 or 3 rides, is all I can tolerate. Like, whatever, like, I'll still go. It's just one of the things I really don't want to have to give up anytime soon if I don't have to. And hopefully I can go back again when all this stuff going on in the world is finally taken care of, and no one's going to hopefully, and maybe his vaccine will get made, who knows. But I look forward to the day when people can venture back out to Cedar Point. But those are my 2 stories now, and I will share more in the coming weeks, because like a lot of people I know who have POTS, I have a lot of injury stories, I really do.